Alright guys, welcome back. I gave you a full recap of what we've got. So there's that pipe Matt built. This is where the turbo is going to go.
Yeah, hopefully we can mount the turbo for the last time today also, and start on the downpipe and get the feed and drain routed to it. And put the intake back together. It's still just loosely there.
We did get our hose too. We've been waiting on this thing so we could finish out that fuel house so we could show you guys how to do it. And this is submersible line, so don't use regular fuel injection line. And this was 27 bucks. Luckily we only need this much, so we still have a few more to do other cars with. We'll just have to keep it somewhere so we know it's
special hose.
Yeah, expensive hose.
And I burned out a flange for the downpipe. My computer program kept freezing, so it just isn't pretty, but we'll make it work.
Here's the other turbine. It works fine. The only thing I was telling Matt is, for whatever reason, this seal, the exhaust seal, seems a little bit looser, flimsier than the other one. It just doesn't seem as tight. I think it should be fine. We should have proper drain back, and as long as you have good drain back, these seals don't tend to blow out like that. Hopefully we get this mounted and maybe first start somewhere today or maybe the next video. We'll see. I don't know if you guys can see that, but we are some pretty tight clearances there. All right guys, I think we put her together for the last time. We're messing with the wastegate now, but cleaned it pretty nice. So that's gonna look good right there. We're still not sure of the scaling. Matt looked it up. It said, what was it?
I thought it said 4, 6, and 8, or 4, 6, 8, and 10-pound springs. So I'm guessing a 4 and a 6 made the 10.
Yeah.
So maybe this is the 8, and that's 4.
Yeah. Wow, that's tiny.
This is what it came with inside of it.
Oh, okay.
So, yeah, 8.
Yeah.
I don't know.
All right, guys. So wastegate's installed. I'll show you that here in a sec. But if you're new to the channel, so what we're doing here is we're bypassing the stock regulator, and we're going to use our own. And basically, what you do is you're going to cap this off. We ended up just pinching it, not even welding it this time. And instead of from the regulator to the hose here, we're going to be using our own. So Matt made this little loop out of metal rather than using this hose. It's too bulky if you just use this hose. So it's a good idea to do something like this. It keeps it a lot more compact. So I'll show you what we got to do here. This is our fitting. And like we said, you don't have to turn it down like we did on the lathe. Matt turned it down for us, but you can buy an attachment. You know, it just gets a little bulky, but it still works. That's originally what we did on the first one. So you need 2 gasketed washers. One on the top, one on the bottom. We'll go ahead and tighten that up real quick. All right, we're all set there. All we need to do is figure out the length of hose we're gonna need. I think it's not gonna be very much because I believe we cut it pretty long, or did this pretty long, so it's pretty short hose that we're gonna use. So there you go, you got your hose through here. It's all put back together. So of these 3, this is the barb you're looking for to meet up with this hose. This is just in the tank. This one goes to the feed, and this is your return here. It's all put back together, and from here down into the old return, capped off the fuel regulator. This goes to nothing, this goes to the feed. It doesn't necessarily have to be back in its spot. I'm sure you could figure out a different way to do it. It's just easier for us. That way when we get it inside the tank, just slip on the hose and it all fits. It's all compressed enough. See? Flares out a little bit, but it's not a big deal. We should be able to squeeze it in there. And other than that, that's ready to go. So we'll throw that back in the tank. All right, guys, so we got everything wrapped up in the fuel tank. I'll show you that real quick, but we got the line all the way over here. Everything's zip tied underneath. I showed you guys that in the previous video. So the only thing we ran into is, like, you can see there's a small gap. You might not be able to see it. There's a small gap here, so that 90 fitting that we decided to use this time, I think was just too tall. So you might be better off doing what we did on the previous IS300 with that 90 bend, rather than using a 90 from the AN fittings like this. So we're gonna run it. It seems to work okay. My main concern was if someone sat down, if it was gonna do anything. So we'll make sure to test that once we're done and throw the seat back in there. But we got the line all the way taut up to here, so we just got to do the fuel regulator. The oil line, we had to flip it 180. So basically, instead of coming out through here, like I showed you guys originally, we flipped it down so it's coming around the bottom. Because the way this turbo's set up, I'll show you here in a sec. So we're bringing it here. It's not tied up to anything yet. It's just kind of sitting there. This being the turbo from the Supra, it's got both the feed and the drain on the same side. So normally with the turbos, you have your feed on the top, your drain at the bottom. This one has them both on the bottom. So Matt made this bracket here, got these welded up. So that's gonna work out really well now. So we just gotta, basically, we had to switch that oil line for that reason. I got this wrapped up. We're just gonna get some clamps with heat wrap, just because it runs a little close to the ABS here. Just on this end, everything else it clears really well. Just on this end, it's, you know, maybe about that far off. And just to deflect some of the heat, we don't want too much heat on these lines. So that's wrapped up as well. I think we're gonna shoot for trying to put this all back together, and fingers crossed we'll shoot for first start today. I'm not for sure yet. We still got quite a bit to go. But let's try to shoot for first start. We'll keep going. All right, guys, we got the little cats. Oh, and our blow-off valves. Here's the little cats that we got. One of them's gonna go in this remote pipe here. The other one technically goes down further downstream on the exhaust. We're gonna play around with that and see, because we're possibly gonna do hood exit. So we may just throw it here and see if that prevents the check engine light. We're not sure. But with these, they got this little mesh here, and then they've got this filter here. This will come off in your exhaust. It'll rattle itself loose. So all you're looking for is essentially this spacing here. You don't really need this or this other piece here. Just the spacing is all you need so the O2 sensor reads correctly. Well, we're tricking it to read correctly. There's our blow-off valve. We got an HKS knockoff. So this one will sound a little bit different. So we just got to get that welded up. Got to get some nuts, some studs, and I think we'll start putting it back together. All right, guys, we just got back. Got some gasket material.
Yeah, just cutting it out. Just kind of smack this thing if you got a good edge, and it cuts itself out.
All right, go ahead and throw this on for hopefully the last time here.
So we made a drain and feed flange for this thing right here. Drains here, feeds there, and then welded some ANs to it.
Turbo's so big, you know, we don't have a lot of room in there. Give her a go, dude. See what happens.